Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to another half-hour segment of today's edition of Vaughan and Vivo. And I'm alone again. Every day, the last half hour is for you and for me, alone. It's a private class, clase privada. Clase particular, clase individual. It's a private class, intimate moment of contact between your teacher and you, my student. Okay. Now, yesterday was the first day of Vaughan and Vivo, and the first day of Aprender Inglés TV with me. Yesterday, I was explaining to you the learning process. Yesterday, I was explaining to you what's important if you want to learn English, and what's less important. Maybe everything is important, but we need to set priorities. El verbo to set, S-E-T, set, como suena, es el verbo que más usamos cuando es fijar, establecer prioridades, objetivos, estrategia, to set a strategy, to set objectives, fijar metas, to set goals, and in this particular case, to set priorities. Okay. And yesterday I told you that if you are a parent, un padre, a parent can be a man or a woman, a father or a mother, okay? A parent. If you're a parent, or if you're a grandparent, and you have children or grandchildren, remember, the best moment to start with English is at age 1 day or 4 days, when the mother goes home from the hospital or from the clinic, boom. Try to keep the music of the English language near the child's ear a certain number of hours every day. Every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, 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 Tuesday. También se dice Tuesday. Hay dos pronunciaciones. Elige el que más te guste. Monday, no Monday, Monday, Tuesday, winds como los vientos, así se pronuncia. Wednesday, que no significa día de los vientos. Wednes se escribe, pero se pronuncia como vientos día. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, every day, when your little baby is 5 days old, 6 days old, 7 days old, 8 days old, 1 month old, 2 months old, 3 months old, 4 months old, etc. Every day, 1 hour, 2 hours of a CD with voices in English. Not necessarily just caressing the baby's ears. So the baby's ear becomes accustomed to not only el sonido del español castellano, but also to the sound of English. So after 1 year, 2 hours a day, that's almost 800 hours of exposure, lo que yo llamo exposición al sonido del idioma. And you would be surprised how effective that is. And it doesn't require any work on your part or on the baby's part. It's just the work of pushing a button and the CD starts to work. Hello, good morning. It's morning for little babies. You're a little baby. Softly but slowly, every day. And then after the baby is 1 year old, you continue with different strategies. And you would be surprised that if you are disciplined and perseverant, okay, a constante, consistent, your little baby and your child, by the time he or she reaches the age of 5, you'd be surprised. They not speak, but they understand English fairly well. Or if they begin to study English, pan comido. They're at a tremendous advantage over other classmates. So between the age of 0 and 5 is the moment to try to resolve 80% of the question, which is the ear. The second stage, the second opportunity, if you miss the first, si el primer tren pasa y lo pierdes, if you miss the first train, estate en el andén esperando para el segundo tren. Be on the platform, waiting for the second train to pass. And the second train is from the age 6 to 13. Okay, 13 normally is the puberty age, when the hormones change in the mind and the body. That's the second opportunity. It's the second train. It's a slower train than the first. The first train is train de alta velocidad. It's the bullet train. But the second train is not bad. It's like a good Talago, and it moves fast. Children learn relatively quickly when they are 7 years old, 8 years old, if they start the language. But the phonetics are already a bit difficult. Usually children, a 7-year-old child would say, "This is a pen." Normally, a 3-year-old child says, "This is a pen. This is a table. This is a microphone. This is a glass of water." A 7 or 8-year-old child says, "This is a pen. This is a microphone. This is a glass of water. This is a table." Already, I know from experience, 34 years teaching, that a 7 or 8 or 9-year-old child, I as a teacher have a phonetics responsibility. I need to insist this. But with a 3-year-old, no. This. The 3-year-old imitates perfectly and emulates and assimilates quickly the sounds I make, the native sounds I make. But still, between the age of 6 and 13 is a good age to start if you didn't start before. But if you miss that train, I arrived late. Estaros en el andén de todas formas, porque viene un tercer tren. Be on the platform again, waiting for the next train. And the next train is from age 13 to 23, while the student is still an adolescent or a very young adult. Now, we have some problems here. The problem is, after puberty, young people, adolescents, become more rational, more analytical, more logical, more skeptical, more cynical, depending on their personality. And then, for the teacher, it's not as easy as before, because they analyze. ¿Por qué se dice, a mí me gusta, y luego vosotros decís, yo aprecio? I like this table. In Spanish, you say, esta mesa me gusta, o me gusta esta mesa. Es la mesa quien actúa sobre mí, gustándome, dándome placer. This table me gusta. En inglés lo decimos al revés. Nosotros volcamos los sentimientos sobre el objeto. I like this table. O sea, literalmente yo aprecio, yo valoro esta mesa. Entonces, para entender del verbo to like, hay que pensar en el sentido de apreciar o valorar. Yo valoro las flores, yo aprecio las flores. I like flowers. Claro, en castellano decís, las flores me gustan. Se obra en sentido contrario que en inglés, y eso crea confusión para nosotros al aprender castellano y vosotros al aprender inglés, porque parece lo contrario. But so, esta explicación, this explanation of the logic of the simple verb gustar or to like is not necessary for a child who's 3 years old. And it's usually not necessary for a child who's 7, 8, or 9 years old. But it's necessary usually for a young adolescent or young adult. So already I have a problem. Already I need to be rational, lógico, when I'm teaching, okay? And to explain why, and to explain how. With younger people, it's not necessary to explain how or to explain why. It's not necessary to teach grammar. Children absorb grammar, okay? Little children, 4 years old. Mamá nos ha dicho que nos quedemos aquí. Y ayer mamá nos dijo que nos quedásemos aquí. Yo tardé 3 años en aprender a manejar el subjuntivo del presente y del pasado en español. Pero un chico de 4 años lo maneja así en castellano. So, that's the moment to learn a second language. My children, I have 2 children. Now, my daughter is 27, and my son is 23. Both of them speak English perfectly, and they speak Spanish perfectly, because my wife is Spanish, and I'm American. They grew up in Spain. They attended a British and American school, depending on the period. And I always spoke to them in English at home, and my wife always spoke to them in Spanish. So, my children had two languages simultaneously at home from the beginning, from the hospital, before they went home, when they were 3 or 4 days old. Now, I guarantee you this is true. My daughter and my son, in the first 3 years of their life, they thought, pensaban, that all daddies spoke one way and all mommies spoke another. Así es la vida. Children, little children, accept everything as reality. They never question anything. If you have a 2-year-old child and you start to levitate in the morning drinking coffee, the child's not going to say, Mama, ¿qué estás haciendo? ¿Estás levitando? They don't know. The child accepts it. Okay, and if a telephone call comes to your house and the child takes the phone, no, mamá, no se puede poner, está levitando. The child never questions these things. And that's an incredible moment to learn two languages simultaneously. And when my children were 3 years old and 4 years old, they spoke perfect English and perfect Spanish. Their Spanish was richer, más rico, because they were living in Spain, but their English was fine, perfect grammar. Sometimes they mixed words. Sometimes they said, Papá, Daddy is ronking instead of Daddy is snoring. Papá está roncando, okay? And they mixed ronking, but anglificaban el gerundio de roncar a lo inglés, ronking. So they knew both languages. But in your case, in most of your cases, it's too late for you, probably too late for your children, or if you're a senior citizen, it's too late for your grandchildren. So you have missed 2 trains. Now, the train from age 13 to 23 is a third opportunity to volcarse para quitar en medio el lastre del inglés de por vida. Okay? Now is a new opportunity. If you are watching me now and listening to me, and if you're 14 and your English is not very good, work on it now. If you have a 14-year-old son or daughter, or a son or daughter who's 16, 17, take the necessary steps, los pasos necesarios now. Because if you wait, if you postpone this question until the child is 23, after the university, it's too late. It's too late. You have missed every train. Well, miento. There's a train coming. Es un tren de 1870. Slow. In very bad condition. Because everybody I have met in my life, in this country, learning English, I would say probably 97, 98% of all of my students in the past 34 years have been over 23. Más de 23 años. Over 23. And only 5%, or even less perhaps, only 5% have learned English well. Y cuando defino learn English well, what's the definition of to learn English well? Hacerse con el idioma de forma que uno pueda andar por el mundo y cerrar contratos en un inglés eficaz. Now, if necessary. Okay, en un inglés eficaz. In the last class I was talking about this. ¿Qué significa un inglés eficaz? No significa para nada un inglés perfecto. You will never speak English perfectly. I'm sorry. You will never be completely satisfied with your English level. You will always make mistakes when you speak. You will always make certain mistakes with the irregular verbs, or maybe many mistakes. You will never master. To master, me encanta el verbo. To master se traduce al español como llegar a dominar, llegar a poseer un dominio de. You will never master phrasal verbs, estos verbos compuestos con preposición, to your satisfaction, ni soñando. Not even, decís en inglés, digo en español, ni soñando. Curiosa expresión en inglés, más curiosa todavía. Not in your wildest dreams. No en tus sueños más salvajes, literalmente. Not in your wildest dreams. Not even, ni siquiera. Not even in your wildest dreams will you master phrasal verbs to your satisfaction. Never. So I'm sorry, y tachadme de lo que queráis, but it's true. I'm telling you, the crude reality and the truth. You will never speak with a pronunciation or an accent and with grammar to your satisfaction. But you are perfectly capable, perfectamente capaz o capacitado, you're perfectly capable of learning to be perfect in communication situations. You're perfectly capable of being perfect in your communication. ¿Y qué significa perfect en este caso? A perfect communicator is a person who gets results. Los idiomas no existen como fines en sí. Normalmente, a no ser que seas poeta. But even a poet uses language in a very special way to transmit other ideas, concepts, feelings. So the language itself, el idioma en sí, the language in itself or the language itself, el in es opcional, is usually not the final objective or the end, el fin en sí, the end in itself. A language is a tool, a vehicle for other objectives, for other purposes. Propósito, purpose, no purpose, purpose. And in your case, probably, if you're not a poet or a writer, language is a vehicle, vehículo, vehicle, fijaos en la V, es como una F vibrada, vehicle. Language is a vehicle for the resolution of other questions, matters, affairs, problems, okay? And you need to speak English and Spanish well enough to be able to solve things, resolve questions that are important to you, personally or professionally. So, do you speak Spanish perfectly? Are you perfectly eloquent and effective every day in your own language? Probably not. Me? Sometimes when I speak English, sometimes when I speak in front of groups, I give una charla, I give a talk. Some days, I said, hoy no ha cuajado bien la cosa. Something's not right. Today, I was not as eloquent or as high impact as other days. And then other days, wow, everything is perfect. I'm Mr. Eloquent. So even in your own language, you have good days and bad days in communication. Eficacia, effectiveness, okay? And in English, it's effectiveness. That's the only thing that counts. Es lo único que cuenta. And to be effective when you speak English with people, with groups, individuals, the important thing is to first, number one, priority number one, y esta prioridad está en el techo por ser tan importante. Casi no lo veo ahí arriba, es tan prioritario. Listening comprehension. Listening comprehension. La comprensión auditiva, oído. If you don't understand, apague y vámonos. If you don't understand the first time, well, you have a serious problem, my friend. And you can come to me, and you can demonstrate to me you're perfect. You said, fijaos, o fíjate, Richard, lo bien que domino tus verbos irregulares en inglés. Go and gone, come, came, come, see, saw, seen. Ponme a prueba. And I said, wow, Pedro, Pablo, Maria, Inés, you're good with irregular verbs. I'm impressed. Question, do you understand perfectly? Uy, eso es otro cantar. It doesn't matter. Da igual lo bien que domines los verbos, el vocabulario y todo. Si a la hora de la verdad no entiendes toda la primera y con soltura, lo tienes muy crudo. So, listening comprehension is everything. Everything. Everything starts here. Question. A ver si me entiendes. Question. Why are deaf mutes mute? I'll repeat. Why are deaf mutes mute? You still don't understand. Escuchad bien. Okay, clean your ears, okay? Why are deaf mutes mute? You still don't understand. Okay, it's a bit tricky. Tricky. Esto es un poco tramposo esto. It's a bit tricky. Deaf, deaf escrito es sordo. Mute is mudo. Deaf mute. A person who is deaf mute is a person who uses his hands for communication. Now, if you go to a doctor and consult with a doctor or ask a doctor, the doctor will tell you that a deaf mute has perfect vocal cords. Figaro, they're perfect. But the deaf mute can't use the vocal cords. The deaf mute must use his hands for communication. Okay? Why? What's the problem? It's the ear. If the ear doesn't work, the rest of the communication apparatus is useless. So, like the deaf mute, only one thing counts, your ear. If your ear doesn't work, adios muy buenas. The rest of your knowledge, your abilities, your skills, your irregular verbs, it doesn't matter. So, listening comprehension first. That's priority number one, at the ceiling. Okay? If I have, well, si tengo, I have in my pockets here 2 pills. One pill gives you take the pill, you drink some water, and after about 20 minutes, the pill takes effect, and suddenly you speak English with aplomb, beautiful verbs, perfect constructions. Everything is perfect when you speak, but your listening comprehension doesn't change. You still have problems understanding like now. That's pill number 1. Now the other pill, this pill, I give it to you, and you take it with some water. And this is a listening comprehension pill. You take this pill, and after 20 minutes, presto, suddenly, when people speak, you understand perfectly. Like me, you understand the same as you understand Spanish. Okay? That is the listening comprehension pill. But your spoken ability is the same. Okay? Now, these 2 pills are incompatible. They have different chemical compositions that if you take both, you die. Okay, they don't go well together. So, you have to choose one. The perfect speaking pill or the perfect understanding pill. Which do you prefer? Now, if you take the perfect speaking pill, the following day, you will come back to me and say, by the way, Richard, I appreciate the pill. I speak perfect English. Everybody understands me perfectly, but I don't understand. What do you suggest? And I would say, well, Pablo, I suggest that you maybe take the other pill or wait a few years. Mande, ¿qué has dicho? You see, our friend Pablo cannot spontaneously participate in any type of discussion because Pablo doesn't understand 100%. And when you don't understand 100%, if you only understand 85%, that 15% merma, that 15% franja de angustia affects you, and you feel handicapped especially in important situations, critical moments, compromising, situaciones comprometedoras o comprometidas, compromising situations, and then it's because of the ear. The ear is everything. But let me tell you a secret. If you choose the listening pill and take it, your spoken ability will go up 1000 enteros en 2 días. Because if you suddenly start to understand perfectly, your spoken ability will improve a marchas forzadas. You'll get better and better and better and better. My God. I have 1 minute left. Me queda un minuto. I have 1 minute left, and I have a lot more to tell you. A lot more. So I haven't finished. I'll continue on another day. But remember, you will never learn English in an English class. You will never learn English studying an English grammar book. You will never learn English with an English teacher, even with me, even with the best English teacher in the world. You will learn English by exposing your ear to the music, to the richness of the language, many, many, many hours. And it's very easy to understand me because I'm an English teacher. English teachers speak easy English. Es nuestra de formación profesional. But I'll come back and tell you more about the learning process, the teaching process, the English language. ¡Puh! Tenemos por delante años con este dichoso idioma y os lo voy a hacer atractivo. Os va a encantar el idioma inglés y solo así es donde más aspiro a ayudaros con este idioma mío. English. So, thank you very much, and I'll see you again another day. Bye-bye.